Hello, hello, hello everyone, and welcome to another Fallout 76 Weapon Spotlight. Today, we're going to take a look at a Vampire's explosive 10mm Submachine Gun. It's a weapon I don't use all that often, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how it works. Remember, as always, if you enjoy videos like this and you want to see more, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. There's always a lot more to come on the channel, and I hope you'll stick around for more. But beyond that, we're going to go through what we usually do here. At the start of the video, I'm going to go over the weapon and review my build. And as always, I will put timestamps there. So for those of you who just want to jump into the action, you can skip forward and do that. And for those of you who want to see the details of the build, all of that's there for you as well. Let's get started with a look at the weapon. So as I said at the beginning, what we've got is a Vampire's explosive 10mm Submachine Gun. This one's just those 2 stars. And for mods, I put the hardened receiver on to give us the most damage, a lined long barrel, and a lined stock. That's going to give us a little more hipfire accuracy, which should give us a little more cost-friendly AP in VATS. And we also have the drum magazine as well, so we've got a little more ammo capacity. Now, normally, when I run an automatic rifle type weapon, I like to run the stinging magazine because it gives me a little extra armor penetration while also still giving me good ammo capacity. In this case, I think with Tank Killer on here, we're probably in our perks rather, we're probably doing okay on armor penetration, and I wanted to have a little more capacity because the fire rate on this weapon is pretty good. It's going to burn through bullets pretty quick. So having 45 rounds in the magazine, probably going to be a helpful thing. As far as the long barrel and stock go, we again used aligned because we can get better AP, but also that's going to tame the recoil at least a little bit. The recoil on this weapon is atrocious, so I am primarily going to be using it in VATS, but this way, you know, if we do have to hip fire or we do slip out of VATS at all, hopefully that helps control the recoil a little bit. I am running this as a low health, what is normally stealth commando, but there is no suppressor option for this weapon, so stealth is going to be a little bit less than we normally get. But I am running it at low health because I think that's one of the benefits of vampires is we can run low health, get the benefit of adrenal reaction, but have the perk of being much more... Everything is much more survivable at low health if you're constantly regenerating your health just by shooting enemies. That's my thought process anyway. I think that's enough with the weapon. We get the picture here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the build. We'll start with mutations. And first up, we've got adrenal reaction. Like I said, it's going to give us more damage at low health, which is a pretty useful benefit since one Wasteland, the way adrenal reaction and bloodied weapons sync together, you get some diminishing returns there, so that pays off pretty well if we're running a vampire's weapon. We've got bird bones and marsupial, so we can jump high, land softly, get a little more agility, which is going to mean more AP and better stealth. Carnivore, so I get more benefits out of cooked meat. Chameleon, which is completely and utterly useless in every way, but it also has no negative effects, so there's really no reason to get rid of it. Eagle eyes for more critical damage and higher perception. Egghead for more intelligence, which means more XP. Healing factor, so I get some health regeneration in between fights. Some people really don't like healing factor, and I imagine if you're a big-time chem user and you don't want to run class freak, then I understand why, but for me, I'm not a big chem user in the game, so the negative effect that it has is really minimal for me, and then when you factor that in with class freak as well, it's even less minimal. Don't let the numbers on the screen here deceive you. There are some visual bugs with Class Freak right now where not everything shows up properly on this screen, but the effects do work as intended. Wrapping it up, we've got Scaly Skin for some extra damage and energy resistance. Speed Demon, so I can move faster and reload faster. And on this character, I do have Talons, which I kind of regret having because I don't ever use it, but when I got it, I thought, well, it would be kind of nice to be able to throw on a Deathclaw gauntlet and just have a little fun with it every now and again. Not so much anymore, but that's okay. We get the point. Let's jump on into legendary perks next. For legendary perks, we start off with Ammo Factory. This is my main character on Xbox. So I do have this perk fully maxed out. It was one of the first ones that I maxed out because I hate grinding and farming for things. So being able to maximize my ammo production is huge for me. Next up, we've got Legendary Intelligence, another one that I have maxed out. And the main reason I did that is, number one, it helps me generate more XP. But number two, it lets me run Gunsmith and Demolition Expert fully maxed out with Nerd Rage and whatever other intelligence perks I want to run. So I find that one really useful. Now that they've fixed some of the durability issues with weapons, combining Gunsmith and Demolition Expert is probably not as vital as it once was, but it's where I am, so it's where we'll be. Next up is Legendary Charisma. Fortunately, on this character, I did not perk this up at all. I didn't max out this card, so at some point, I'm going to swap it out and back in for something else, but I want to store up a few more levels so I can kind of shift some things around and make some changes when I do it. And the reason for that is when you use Legendary Charisma, while you can pick more perk cards, it doesn't give you the ability to share more. So what you want to do is move your points into Charisma and use a legendary perk to buff something else. Next up is Follow Through. On a stealth character, this is a very powerful perk. Doesn't do a whole lot for you on regular run-of-the-mill enemies, but on your bigger, tankier enemies and your boss enemies, landing a successful sneak attack means they're going to take 40% more damage for 10 seconds after that attack. So if you continuously land more sneak attacks, that's a pretty big damage buff. I find that very useful. Like I said, less effective on run-of-the-mill enemies, but pretty good to use on your bigger, tankier boss-type enemies. Rounding things out, we've got Legendary Endurance, which the main reason I have that is so that I can run Revenant, which during Queen fights and Earl and the Imposter Sheep Squatch and all those things, if I go down, someone revives me, I come back up and do a whole bunch of extra damage. So I like that, but I don't want to invest regular perk points in it, so this is perfect. And then, of course, we end with Legendary Luck, which I also have maxed out, so that I can take lots of VATS critical-related perks. And my strategy is get more VATS criticals rather than better VATS criticals, and I think that works pretty well for me. And rounding things out, let's go ahead and take a look at the special build and regular perks for what I'm running today. So we've got Strength at 2 with Bandolier, so we can reduce the weight of our ammo. Perception is maxed out with the Commando perks almost fully maxed out. You'll notice Master Commando is only 2 points instead of 3. That way I can have all 3 points of Ground Pounder and Tank Killer and still have 1 point of Concentrated Fire. So we give up a teeny tiny little bit of damage there, but I can live with that to have the perks that come along with those other cards. Under Endurance, I've got Radical, so I have more strength at low health because I gate my health with radiation. And of course, with Radical, the more radiation you have, the stronger your strength is. With Revenant, like we talked about in Legendary Perks, that gives me bonus damage after I get revived. Not going to be super useful for today's video, but in my normal gameplay, it is. Then we have Charisma at 5, which eventually I'll probably move some other things in here and switch out a different legendary perk, but for today I'm running solo, so I've got Lone Wanderer. That's going to let me take a little bit less damage and give me a little bit better AP refresh. So a little bit of something there is better than nothing. Normally, if you're in a group, you're going to run Inspirational or Strange in Numbers, but I'm not in a group. I'm on a private world running solo so that everything's nice and clean when I do this. So Lone Wanderer makes more sense here. Tenderizer is maxed out, so our enemies take more damage after we attack. That works well in combination with Follow Through, but more useful on bigger, tankier enemies than run-of-the-mill stuff. Under Intelligence, I've got that at 14 because I have that maxed out with a legendary perk. So I can have Demolition Expert to boost up my explosive damage, Gunsmith maxed out so that my weapon condition degrades as slowly as possible, Nerd Rage to give me more damage at low health, along with some more damage resistance, and AP refresh. And then I've got one more point in there which I use for Scrapper so that when I scrap weapons and armor, I get more steel. You may or may not love doing that for yourself, but for me, I never remember to swap things around, so I like having it on. Next up, we've got Agility maxed out. Now, normally this is a Stealth Commando build, so I would typically run maxed out Covert Operative instead of Action Boy, But today we're running a weapon with no suppressor, so we're not really going to stay in stealth the whole time. So building around maxing that sneak critical doesn't make a ton of sense. So I put in Action Boy for better AP refresh, but I still have sneak in here. I still have Escape Artist in here, and that's going to let us stay a little bit stealthy so we can stay safer at low health. Has less to do with getting damage and more to do with survivability. And then you can also see we've got Gun Fu maxed out, so as I kill one enemy, my targets will swap automatically and give me a little damage buff when that happens. And then I've got Adrenaline, so as we take on bigger mobs, we do more damage. Finally, under luck, we've of course got Class Freak and Starch Genes, so I can keep my mutations and reduce their negative effects. I've got Bloody Mess for some extra damage. I've got Serendipity so that I can avoid damage when my health is low. And then for VATS critical perks, I've got better criticals in there to give me a little bit more critical damage. But then I've got Grim Reaper Sprint, 4-Leaf Clover, and I find that, just shuffling those things around a little bit like that gives me different chances at refilling my AP bar and getting more VATS criticals. I think it works fine, especially unyielding with a low health build, where your luck is through the roof anyway. It works fine for me. Your mileage may vary. You may have different preferences of your own, and that's all fine. There's more than one way to skin a cat when it comes to that. So I'm good with this setup. Let's jump into Whitespring and see how we do with the weapon. All right, we're going to sneak our way in here to start. We'll target some heads. And because we have no suppressor, these ghouls are going to be all over me. You can see I'm already in danger. And there's that famous recoil on the 10mm Submachine Gun. So I had to back away a little bit, but between Gun Fu, the explosive damage, and the relatively fast fire rate on the weapon, we got out of trouble. So far, so good. Takes a couple shots to take things down, but it's really not the end of the world. There we go. And we've got you across the room. So yeah, we're probably taking these things down in about 2 headshots, which is pretty good. Now, if I move slowly, I can stay in caution and get some sneak criticals, but for the most part, once you get a few things tracking you, you're going to be in danger, which is okay. As long as you can keep yourself moving quickly, this weapon is, any weapon that isn't stealthy is a little bit of a challenge to stay safe with in VATS. Because when these ghouls come fast and hard in big numbers, you can get yourself in trouble there getting stuck in VATS, and I'm notorious for it, and it usually happens over here in the pro shop if it's going to happen. So let's see if we survive this run. When it's a stealthy weapon, I have no trouble. When it's a loud weapon, I always get myself killed. So let's see here. What do we have over in the pro shop? 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, 4 down, we're okay. All right, and then I'm reloading probably more than I need to here because I'm just used to doing that. But I should take advantage of the weapon's ammo capacity. And we'll get rid of you. And the glowing one has already moved over there. All right, so far we're in pretty good shape. I think we have 1 or 2 more hiding out here. We had a few run in from outside already. Clean spacesuit helmet. Sure, I'll take that. All right, we'll grab that up. And I'm still in caution. And yet we've got 1 more ghoul hiding out in here. It looks like all the ghouls from outside ran in. And I'm pretty sure that clears a note. We've got 1 more. Okay. 1 more, and now we're clear. Let's head over to the deep and take out some commies. All right, let's sneak up the catwalk to Commie Land. And here we've got some Liberators. Probably a little far away for the range of this weapon. But if you do come here, remember you can VATS those guys before they drop down. They kind of live magically in the air there until you pass a certain point. So the Liberators are a little tankier than the ghouls at Whitespring, but not by much. And that's not bad either. The range on this weapon is decent. For a submachine gun type weapon, it's pretty decent. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. Okay, I want to be careful not to jump into vats there and get pulled off the ledge. And so far, so good. We are in danger, so we've definitely been spotted. But so far, that's not really a problem. We're taking things out quickly and effectively, even though we've taken a few hits along the way. That vampire's effect seems to keep our health buffed up nicely. We'll just creep up the ladder here. There's always a missile sniper. There you are. How you doing today, buddy? You're not doing so good anymore. Okay. Now we'll head back down, around the back, loop inside, clear out the rest of this place. Okay, yep, we'll do our little Iron Man landing. One down. We should have a power armor commander back here. Not today. Okay, just a regular commie. All right, let's head inside. And moving in the front door. Some of these guys might have run out front when we first got here, but for the most part, they stayed inside. And we can see again, a couple of headshots gets the job done. We're in danger, so I don't think I'm getting sneak criticals there. Nope, that's the combination of headshots and VATS, adrenaline, and the fact that the explosive buff is pretty damn good. We should have just a few up here. We've got one power armor commander, that's good. I like to make sure we get at least one on these runs. And there's my VAT skill failing, shooting at random consoles. But now the deep is clear. Let's head over to Solomon's Pond. All right, make our way down the trail. Find our friendly neighborhood Behemoth, and my goal here is going to be to land a sneak attack to start so that we get maybe a little more of a damage buff from follow-through. Because if that lasts for 10 seconds, we should be fine. Okay, we landed our sneak attack. Landed a couple of sneak attacks. And you can see our damage is pretty damn good right there. Took him out very quickly from a distance, too. If we were a little closer, probably would have taken a few less bullets. But I can live with those results. Let's head to a Fissure site and take on some Scorched. So far, this weapon is doing very well for us. I have no complaints. The only thing I don't love about it is that it doesn't have a suppressor, so it does make being a stealth commando kind of impossible. I'm not even going to try to run stealth here because we're right out in the open between the Scorchbeast and the Scorched running around. There's no way we're going to stay hidden, so we're just going to play... we're going to jump around as much as we can, avoid getting hit, rely on gun-fu, and this is my other complaint with this weapon is the AP cost in VATS is pretty high compared to something like a Handmade or a Fixer, where I can kind of shoot endlessly. It feels like this is, I find that I'm running out of AP pretty quickly with this, which is kind of disappointing, but overall that may just be that I'm not used to running with the weapon. Maybe I can learn to live with that. So now we just need to take down this Scorchbeast. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay, you know where I am. And we've landed a bunch of hits and none of them did any damage. Gotta love that. It's better than it was, but it's still not great. Okay, come on, buddy. Come on. Yeah, those just look like they're just not even registering. I wonder if that's during certain animations. Maybe that's a problem. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's an issue that's been around for a while. Okay, we got a little bit of damage off there. I'd love it if this Scorchbeast would just land again. And you can see again, running out of AP and VATS. That's just typically not an issue. All right, well, he's down. But yeah, that's my only complaint so far. Let's head over to Huntersville and take on some mutants. And as usual, we'll do a little twist and turn around here to wake up the floaters. Come on. There we go. All right. And I don't seem to be having... So maybe it's a bug. Maybe there's something else there. I don't know. The AP cost on this weapon is just weird. I didn't seem to run out quickly there, but I do seem to run out quickly in other scenarios. Maybe I'm just misjudging it. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll run up the road. We've got our first boy and his dog on this side of town. Hop on up to the water tower. Where are you hiding? Come on, I know you're here. There you are. How's my friendly super mutant doing? And you can see here we did pretty well. Of course, some of those shots seem to only register the explosive damage, so sometimes that happens. You can miss with your shot, but still hit with your explosion. And we've just got a couple more here. This shouldn't be a major ordeal to clear out. And maybe there's a little bit of lag there. It does look like it's taking kind of a second for things to die after we actually put bullets into them. I can learn to live with that. Take out the hound. Those mutant hounds, man, you're running a bloodied build or a low health build, those hounds are awful. They'll knock you out in one bite. Meanwhile, super mutants can shoot you in the face 35 times and you got nothing to worry about. Okay, outside's clear. We've got usually 2 living upstairs in the house. And they know I'm here, so no point in sneaking. Let's use gun fu. And there we go. There again, the AP ran out. So you saw that muzzle climb, which is less than wonderful. Head up the road and find another boy and his dog. Where are you at? Sometimes they're over there, usually they're up here. Level 75. Maybe got a little more distance than is ideal, but I can live with it. There we go. And we're all clear. Let's talk conclusions. So, what do I think of the Vampire's explosive 10mm submachine gun overall? Well, the way I have it modded, I do like it. It's a useful weapon. I think if there's a scenario where it's going to be really useful, it's probably a good weapon for an unusual stealth commando to take into daily ops where stealth is nerfed. So something like this where stealth is irrelevant can keep you alive and give you some explosive damage while using cheap ammo, which is a plus. The drawback to the weapon is the AP cost in VATS. It's definitely got a higher VATS AP cost than most other automatic rifles, which is a little weird. I would think, if anything, it would have a lower AP cost because it's a smaller, lighter weapon. But the math doesn't add up that way. But it is missing a couple of things. The big one it's missing is a reflex sight. So most of the time, if you're running a fixer or a handmade and you're going to do a VATS build, you're going to put a reflex sight on it, which increases its hipfire accuracy and therefore reduces its VATS AP cost. We don't have that benefit on this weapon, and maybe I'm noticing that a little bit. Not having a suppressor on it could have something to do with that, but I don't think so. That really just affects stealth, which, you know, if we could have a suppressor on this weapon, it might be one of my favorite guns in the game. But without that reflex sight, without that suppressor, it definitely makes it a bit of a niche weapon, which is not a bad thing. There's a place for that, especially now that we have a little more stash space to store things. It's not the worst thing in the world to have kind of a specialty weapon, and this definitely fits that bill. Ultimately, it looks cool, it sounds cool, it kills things dead pretty quick, so I really have no complaints. I didn't die throughout the whole run, even when getting mobbed by ghouls, when I often do die. And for that, I do attribute that directly to the vampire's effect, keeping my health high. I think there would have been situations where I might have gotten myself killed if this were not a vampire's version of the weapon. So with that, there's my review of it. I think it's pretty good, and it serves a very specific and very useful purpose for certain builds. So that's that. As always, if you enjoyed this, if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. There's always a lot more to come on the channel, and I really do hope I see you next time. Till then, I'm Fisty McRib.